Raw and raucous no more. The all-new Eclipse GSX is still a great car for fast driving.
Thank you everybody for joining us on another episode of Diamond Star Media. A lot of people have been asking, can we take a look at the other Mitsubishis? Well, yeah, let's do that today. Let me show you these cars in the order that I've purchased them over the years. Starting with my favorite, the 1996 GSX Eclipse model. And it's my favorite because it's the first car I ever bought in high school. It's a car I learned to drive on, and it's undergoing a restoration project. So, let's get a little bit closer to it. As you can tell, the 1996 model is what is often called as the 2GA. This car is very cool, to me at least, because it was the first car that I used for our Instagram, DSM Nation, and it gathered quite a bit of a following. Check out our Instagram page at DSM Nation, at the link here. So, let's start with the front over here a little bit. You might notice that the bumper has a smiley face to it. That's because it's a 2GA model. Compared to the 2GB, which is a 97 to a 99 model, the 2GA is a 95 to a 96. So, not only does it have the smiley face bumper and a low spoiler in the rear, it also has the gray side skirts and the two-tone paint job if it's a turbo model. So you can tell here this is a Calipana black paint with the Logan gray all around the car. As well as being a turbo model, it came with these turbo-inspired wheels. Again, everything in the 90s was kind of a turbo craze. Now I'm trying to keep this car as original as possible and better than factory. And what I mean by that is I want this car to look better than it was at the showroom in 1996. Why don't you get a little bit closer and I'll show you the interior of this car. Has a gray leather interior, also a 4-speed automatic. Now the automatic is often overlooked. However, it is great for just highway cruising and it's a very strong gearbox. Why don't I pop open the hood so you can see a little bit more of that iconic 4G63. Now this was the motor that was in the Galant VR-4 as well as the Evo generations all the way up to the 9th Evo. Pretty amazing, isn't it? I'm trying to go piece by piece restoring it as well as powder coating and just cleaning this whole entire engine bay, which has been a little bit more painstaking than I thought because some of the bolts are very rusty and it's just been an ongoing project for a couple years now. But shout out to Detective Coating that did a fantastic job with this valve cover, silver on red lettering. Pretty clean inside as well as the engine bay, and that's because the car only has 48,000 miles. 48,000 miles, however, the original owner kind of neglected the car probably for the first 44,000 miles. So I'm gonna do my best to make sure this car is restored to the, honestly, the justice that it deserves. So let's take a look at the 99 GST, the second car I ever purchased. So let me tell you about this garage queen. It's a 1999 Mitsubishi GST Eclipse. And it was originally owned by an elderly woman that lived quite literally up the street from me. She says, I can see your pool from my house. Now there's a cool backstory to this because if you remember, that GSX Eclipse was my first car I ever bought. Back in high school, I was driving around town and I saw this car parked outside of a supermarket. And I pulled into the supermarket and quite literally just stopped for 30 minutes to see who is this owner. But, you know, 30 minutes later, I see this old lady kind of walking to the car, arms full of grocery bags, walking closer and closer to her Eclipse. So I get out, the nice guy that I am, I help her with the groceries, put it in and lift that heavy hatch for the Eclipse, put the groceries in, and she was very thankful for that. She says, oh, you're a sweet old kid, and I was asking her questions about her car and telling her about mine, and I said, would you ever sell this car? And she said, you know what, join the waiting list. And she just drove off, and I thought that'd be the last I'd ever see the car. However, a couple years later, I'm in college now, I'm driving around the GSX Eclipse on a random weekend, I came home, and what do I see? It's this car outside my old high school with a for sale sign on it. So what do? I pull over, I call the owner, And they were asking a little bit more than I could afford at the time. However, when I got to her house, she remembered me by my car, and she thanked me for helping her years prior, and she gave me a huge discount on the car, so I was able to afford it, with the promise that I would keep it stock, because it was her Valentine's Day gift from her husband back in 1999. So I've lived up to my word. I've kept it bone stock. Haven't done a single modification to this car, as tempting as it is, because it is a 5-speed GST, but that's the way that I want to keep it for now. So let's get a little bit of a closer look. 2GB, right? That means it's a 1997 to a 1999 model. The 99 model had the big turbo wing back here. I have the factory mud flaps, the chrome wheels, but the 99, you know it's a 99 because it has the very rare black leather interior. That was a special order from Mitsubishi, so it was a pretty big deal when I saw that. This car just rolled over 56,000 miles, so it is still very low mileage. Why don't I pop open that hood for us all so we can take a look at that. So this paint on the car is Minden Silver Pearl, which is a very nice silver with almost a bluish tint to it at certain times in the night. So this car, nothing has been touched underneath the hood. No powder coating, everything's original. DSMs are notorious for shock tower rust. If you get a little bit closer to this shock tower, you're gonna notice it is immaculate. I mean, this engine bay is so clean, you could practically eat off of it. I love this part of the car too, the heat shield here, how clean that is as well. I only gave this a nice power wash the day after I purchased it, but it's still, the original owner kept it very clean, and the reason why is she only drove it on sunny summer days, never in the rain, and it was kept in a climate-controlled garage. So I really lucked out on that one. So I hope you like taking a look at this Mitsubishi GST Eclipse. Again, if you want to see more of this car in depth, be sure to click on the link that we'll put on at this part of the video. But let's move on to the 1996 VR-4 3000 GT Spyder. What do you think? Not bad, huh? This car, the Spyder, only built in 2 years, 1995 to 1996. So it's pretty rare, and they only built about 1,000 or so Spyders, but even less VR-4 Spyders. The VR-4 meaning it is a twin turbocharged 6G72 under the hood. It has all-wheel drive and all-wheel steer, a 6-speed get-drag manual transmission. Now this particular color combo is quite rare because it is a glacier white pearl with a dark gray interior. And they only built that in 1995 with that interior color. And they only built, I think, 48 in the whole United States. So very rare to see this car, but I picked it up last November from the original owner, and you won't believe how many miles it has. 23,000 miles. I could not believe it. He drove it very sparingly, but it still drives incredibly well. So I want to just show you the detail for this car. If you get a little bit closer, it might be hard to get into this interior. So let's start with the engine bay. We're doing loads of work to this garage right now. We're painting the walls and refinishing the floor and all that. So this is going to be almost like a Mitsubishi Haven. Here we go. 6G72. Now you can tell the Mitsubishi engineers are, well, shall I say, they over-engineered this car. They crammed as much as they could in the front engine bay, so I could only imagine it is a pain to work on. However, luckily, knock on wood, this car has not needed too much maintenance. So like I said, this car and all the Mitsubishis in here are very stock. But if you want to see more of this 3000 GT VR-4 Spyder, we just recently took it on a quick coffee run where I go through the interior and show it off a little bit. If you'd like to see that, click on the link that we'll put on right now in the video. But let's move on to our future plans. The future plans for this garage is to do a white wall interior here, smooth out and finish all the touches that it really needs, but put some cool Mitsubishi artwork that I've collected over the years. So let me show you a couple things over here. Obviously, can't be original if it doesn't have the window stickers, right? So this is the GSX Eclipse, $26,000 at the time. Pretty good value for money. I like the things that they put here. Value advantage, aggressive styling, all-wheel drive traction and handling, luxurious leather, no charge. How generous. You can see here this was transported to Summit, New Jersey, a dealer over there, which is not too far from where we are right now. Let me show you another window sticker for the GST Eclipse. You have to love Mitsubishi slogans over the years. They change quite often. This was a wake up and drive. The GSX was a new thinking in automobiles. And at the time of the VR-4, their motto was built for living. So $24,000, close to $25,000 in 1999 for the GST Eclipse. And as you can see here, the options are the leather front seats, anti-lock braking systems, the mud guards front and rear. My favorite window sticker is the 3000 GT because boom, look at that price, $65,000 back in 1996? I'm sorry, 1995? You gotta be kidding me. That is $113,000 in today's money. Pretty good gas mileage for a twin turbo V6, 17 in the city, 24 highway. So very cool that all the original owners kept this. Let me show you some other stuff. This right here is a Diamond Star Motors factory poster, or shall I say a poster they had in the factory when it first launched in 1988, November 1988 right here. It shows you the first generation Plymouth Laser and the Mitsubishi Eclipse with a rare Diamond Star Motors image. Not too many people know what the logo of DSM is, but there you are. This is from my dad's Eclipse. It was a 95 GSX Eclipse. Still has it, has over 216,000 miles, but this is the window sticker for that one. We have a couple more posters, but I'll show you that in another episode. This one took a lot of searching to find on the internet, but it is a Eclipse Spyder poster, and I love that slogan, "Oh, too cool." Get it? Dad puns for the win. So we're gonna put all of this cool posters and artwork once the garage is done, but that's gonna take some time. So please subscribe to Diamond Star Media and see the progress of all these cars as well as this Mitsubishi garage. Take care and have a good one.